Hello and welcome to my review of Death in Paradise Season 13 Episode 2. Now this was a very interesting episode. It added some great character development for Selwyn and it really starts to introduce some of the overall plot features that are going to be throughout this series. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode and is still available on BBC iPlayer now. So then, without further ado, let's get into it. As at the start of my casualty video last week, I'd just like to remind people, for anyone who would like to experience some help and support based upon some of the themes discussed in the episode, please go and speak to someone. The BBC Action Line was set up for a reason and is available now online at bbc.co.uk/action line. If anyone under the age of 18 is also watching this, you may also call Childline at 0800 1111. Now that gloomy and doom and gloom's all done, let's get straight on with it, shall we? Now, the argument at the start was a very good way to start because as things go with all of the episodes, you need a reason. Means, motive, opportunity. MMO. Always MMO. Perfect setup. Having someone with motive from the beginning, which then gets contradicted later on, is perfect and just what you need in a show like this. The bingo hall was lovely as a scene in the whole show, and as the murder location later on. The way she walks out at the start is lovely to see, and creates this cyclical structure that is repeated at the end, and it creates this lovely storyline that we love to go down. Yes, the fact that she died outside of the room was lovely. It's not very often that we get a character who is killed in one room and then dies outside of the room. It's so lovely to have two crime scenes, and that really does just add to this episode so much. The last line, "stupid girl," was really, really great because it just thoroughly sets up the idea of further motive. I'm fairly certain she said "stupid girl," something like that anyway. That really, really thoroughly set up a motive. And that was perfect and really links further through the episode. Now, I do love Selwyn's bitterness towards relaxation. He does not want to relax, he does not want to wind down, he doesn't want to do anything. All he wants to do is his job, and that is perfect for a character like him. The CCTV still was a great use of evidence. It's not very often that we get a piece of evidence that's from CCTV that's been printed off. It creates a lovely little plot thread which we can just drag for the rest of our lives. The use of the not friendship between one of the characters was lovely. It really does just set up the victim's situation before death. The use of the use of the story about the man who drowned was very, very interesting. And it's a very lovely story because it's not very often that we get in that situation of, oh, but it's nice. The depressive state of Selwyn as well, it was nice in a kind of backwards way. It was nice to see because it added such character development for him. The lack of a phone was extremely interesting as well, because in this modern day and age, everyone has a phone. even people in care homes. And that is what is important here. The arguments with the victim create a really upsetting background as well, because it just makes you feel sorry for her directly before she died, because all we hear about is all these arguments that she had, and it's such a shame, really. The collection of family goods was really different. So when the daughter comes in to collect all the family items, it's very different. We don't normally get someone coming in to collect them, and it's really nice to see, actually. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really hope that we get that again in the future, because it adds like a different plot thread. The use of debt was very nice as well, especially with the way it plays out through that character as well, and the use of actually having interviews with characters as well meant that we learned a lot of what was happening as the episode was going on, which was very, very different. And the chase scene with the girl who turns out to be a police officer was very nice. It's not very often that we get a scene where someone's being chased from the person being chased perspective, so that was really nice. The use of the undercover police officer was very good. I have said that, I think. The use of the gangster's money was very interesting as well, and it creates this really nice situation. Selwyn's refusal to accept help adds so much to his character, and it really does just make us feel so sorry for him, because we have watched him for so long at this point. I've probably known him maybe a little bit longer than I've known some of the people in my own life, and he's been on our screens probably longer than some of my family members have been alive, and that really does just make you realise how much you know him, and to have character development within him is so nice. And Catherine's reaction to the whole situation is absolutely perfect. She is the mother of the show, and therefore she acts how you'd expect, and that's brilliant. And the photo that's of Dwayne, Florence and Camille was lovely, albeit I have no idea where it's come from, but it does just look like a still from one of the episodes. But it's lovely. We don't get pictures like that very often. And the way that Florence still impacts the inspector, that's also lovely. And I think that picture really does just add to the whole situation. The email situation, again, we've had it before. The whole, cop-out, it's different. It doesn't happen very often, but it is lovely when we get it. The false identity murder was a very different one, especially with him confessing, I've done it. He didn't do it. I think we as an audience somewhat suspected that he didn't do it as well, but when it happened, it was really nice, and I did enjoy that. The phone in the pond was again different, especially seeing the inspector in the pond. That's different, we don't see that a lot. The conclusion was very interesting, and to have that location of the murder then confirmed really does just hammer home how good it is. A very upsetting conclusion as well, with it all being about a mother trying to protect her child, and that's so sad. I feel so bad having watched it now, but the use of the daughter's return as well was really lovely to see. It doesn't happen very often where we get that, and that there concludes my notes. We are now 10 minutes into this video roughly, and I'm just done with my notes. I'm done with my notes. Okay, that was weird. Right, let's go through the episode. Guest cast and returning cast, I've given them a solid 8. Not as good as the last one, but the last one did have the return of Camille, and it had returning cast of the criminal and murderer from the last one, so that one's just more of a nostalgic one for me. The costume design, as always, was lovely, and the use of the wheelchair and the cane for Selwyn was really, really important. Links to other season, there were links in this one, so I have put it there. I've given it a 5 because if you're going to put links in, you are drip feeding. Is Florence going to come back? Florence is my favourite character, for those who don't know, so I'm really hoping that she comes back. I can try. Characters I've given an 8. Plots I have given a 9. So nice strong plot, this one. Villains, villains, it's not exactly a villain, is it? Murderer. I have given a 9 because it has such a strong payoff with it, and that to me is just great. Rewatchability, I have given it a 7. That would probably be lower for each individual. It depends how good you are with rewatching a murder mystery. If you can rewatch a murder mystery and not have that situation of, well, I know who it is, then you should be fine. And then availability, well, this is quite an obvious one, I think. It's available on BBC iPlayer for now, along with every other season of Death in Paradise. This gives you the perfect chance to catch up. And that gives me the perfect time to say, once again, for anyone who has been experiencing situations that have been upsetting in this episode, sorry, I'll do it more seriously. For anyone who has experience with some of the upsetting plots, I'll go with, in this episode, please seek help at bbc.co.uk/action line. The help is there for a reason. And for those of you under the age of 18, feel free to call Childline at 0800 1111. And finally, comment question of the day. How long do we think Selwyn should be off work for? Make sure to leave the comment in the description and lock it in with by hitting the like button. I will know if you've not been doing it. I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at you, and I'm especially looking at you. But yes, that concludes this episode for today. Make sure to click one of these to continue watching one of my videos. This one here or this one here, whichever one is being recommended to you specifically for a reason. Watch it.